With Vision AI technology, a precise navigation system, and an all-wheel drive and floating cutting system that can easily adapt to uneven terrain, the Sunseeker X5 Elite is the perfect robot to mow your lawn for you so you don't have to. So if you're tired of mowing your lawn at the weekends or after a long day at work, the Sunseeker X5 Elite might just be the game changer you're looking for, and it's not only going to do the job for you, but it's going to do it well. Now I put the Sunseeker X5 Elite to the test on my parents' lawn, and now it's time to dive into the setup, explore all the features, and see just how well this performs in the real world. So we start with the unboxing and setup, which is pretty straightforward. If we open up the box, we've first got the quick start guide, which gives you setup instructions. We've then got a box containing the power supply, the base and poles for the RTK. We've then got the X5 Elite lawnmower, another power supply, a box containing stakes and pins to secure the RTK and the base station to the lawn. We've then got the instruction manual, and we also get some bags containing spare screws and spare blades for the mower. And then finally, we've got the RTK and the base station. So I've temporarily set the base station up in the corner of the garden, as half the garden is currently out of use. And all you've got to do is place it where you want it to be, and then hammer the stakes into the ground to secure it into place. You then attach the two poles together for the RTK, screw the base station onto the bottom and the RTK onto the top, and then push the pins into the base to secure it into the lawn. And it also comes with some clips to neatly run the power cable down the pole. Now you can install the RTK in the garden or on the roof, but just make sure if it is installed in the garden, then there's no big obstructions around. Now once that's done, we can go ahead and open the Sunseeker app and add the mower. All you've got to do is scan the QR code on the mower, and it then takes you through step-by-step instructions and gives you help and advice on the placement of the RTK and the base station, and you then just connect it to your Wi-Fi and you're good to go. Now as a safety feature, you also set a PIN number, and you need to enter that on the robot itself to change it from idle into active mode. For the first use, you also need to set a boundary. This is done by simply driving the X5 Elite around the perimeter of the lawn, and it also recommends that you practice driving with the controls first, and I highly recommend that you do this just to get used to how it maneuvers and steers, or it does also have an AI option that's going to do the perimeter for you. Now it's recommended when you're doing this perimeter that you try and stay within 5 centimeters of the boundary, and as I said, half of this garden is out of use at the moment, so I've just driven it around at the perimeter that I want to use, but once you've done that, you're all set. Now the app also tells you to make sure that the grass is shorter than 3 inches, so make sure that this is the case. And essentially, the way this works is that it mows your lawn often and trims off a tiny bit of grass each time so that it doesn't leave loads of grass all over your lawn. But I've let the grass grow much longer than we want, and I'm going to cut it all the way down to 2 centimeters just for the first run, so that we can not only put its cutting ability to the test, but it also lets you see the cutting lines more clearly. Now you can literally just press start and it's going to go ahead and cut your garden. And thanks to its AI detection system, it's going to go around objects rather than crash into them, as you can see here. You can also choose in the app whether you want it to cut the edges every time, or maybe every other time, or even less often. And you can also choose if you want it to do the edges first or last. But on the first cut, it's done a great job, as you can see here if I follow it. It's taking off a lot of grass as it was much longer than we wanted, but it's cutting everything nice and straight, and it's broken the garden up into sensible sections. Now something that I was pleasantly surprised with is actually the noise. The floating cutting system is actually much quieter than I was expecting, so we'll just check out the noise samples now. So after the initial test, we then use the mower again to cut it as it should be used, and you can schedule it to cut as often as you want, which is great. But you can see here, the mower just drives around the lawn, shaving the grass to ensure it's always at the desired length without you having to lift a finger, and you can even activate it via Google Home or Alexa. It's a fully autonomous driving system that uses the RTK for satellite positioning to ensure that it accurately stays within the boundaries, and you can even see on the app exactly where the robot is at all times. Now its Vision AI technology is equipped with a 3D binocular camera, means it can actually see its surroundings, and it can sensibly navigate around any obstructions and walls, as you can see with the washing line placed in the middle of the lawn here. In terms of the actual cutting, it's a 22cm cutting width, and its height is adjustable between 20mm and 60mm, and it's just a case of setting it on this control knob here. Now I found its all-wheel drive system also works really well, and there are a few little bumps in the lawn that cause no issues with mobility, and the floating cutting disc ensures that it still cuts to the correct height on this uneven surface, and the three-wheel driving system means it can achieve a true zero turning radius, which is great for tight corners. Now the X Series intelligently plans the cut for the most efficient working route to deliver parallel lines across the whole garden, and this also prevents any missed or repeated areas. And as I said, you can choose whether you cut the edges every time, and also if you want the edges cut first or last. Now it's also IPX5 waterproof, and this means you don't have to worry about the rain, but of course you don't really want to be cutting in the rain either, and its auto rain detection is going to make the X5 Elite return to the base and stop mowing if it detects rain. So that's the cutting out the way, and of course all of the customization comes down to the application. So if we open it up, you can see on the main screen I've got my mower, along with the Bluetooth enabled logo, the Wi-Fi signal, and the battery percentage. Now as you can see, where I've temporarily placed it, I do have a pretty weak Wi-Fi signal, but that's not actually caused me any issues at all during my testing, and everything's worked as it should. Now we can either press details or just press on the image of the mower, and then it takes us to the lawn view, and this shows us the base station, the lawnmower's current position, and we also get the different zones broken down here as well. Now as I said, half the garden is off limits at the moment, but as soon as that's ready, I'll be adding a zone B. If you want to cut the lawn, you can just go ahead and press start, and if you press the work log, it's also going to show you everything that's happened from cuts to recharges, etc. And on the top, it shows you the total mowed area, how many times it's carried out, and the total mowing time. And then we also get the weekly mowed area on the main screen. Now under schedule is where you'd build your personal schedule, and the default preset recommended one is to cut in the mornings, Monday to Saturday. But if you go into custom, you can set this to whatever you want it to be. Now if we head back to the main screen, we've got a choice for manual remote control if you want to manually drive the mower. And you can either do this by looking at the screen, or you could go out and watch the mower as you drive it. And you've also got a button to turn the blades on or off while you're doing this, as well as the ability to set the speed limit for the mower. Under map management, you can edit the map or add multiple maps, and of course I've only got one zone at the moment and no need for multiple maps, and it's a pretty straightforward zone. We can set the working zones, no-go zones, corridors, safe zones, and forbidden zones, but of course this is an easy garden to cut at the moment, so I haven't needed any of this. But when the second part of the garden is ready, that's going to be zone B with a corridor between them where the path is. Now next, if we head into messages, you can see all of the notifications from the works completed, even to where I've been picking it up to film some of the shots for the B-roll for this video. And then if we go back and head into settings, you can see we've got device information, pin code if you want to change the pin code for the lawnmower, antenna settings, firmware upgrade, work log to see everything that's happened, network settings, time zone settings, tracking, and feedback. We've also got the work section where you can control the mowing speed. You can set cutting spacing and the cutting directions. You can change zone settings, select how frequently it's going to cut the edges, as well as if it's going to mow them first or last. You can change AI sensitivity for how strict it's going to be with the boundaries, but I found that this was no issue, kept to low. Obstacle avoidance, you can choose if you want to slowly touch an obstacle or no touch at all and completely avoid it. You can enable or disable the rain delay and also set the delay time after the rain stops. And then finally, we've got energy saving mode. Under the Me section, it just shows you the devices and account information, as well as general settings like your region and language. So as you can see, there's plenty of customization on how it cuts your lawn. And the great thing is that once the X5 Elite is installed, you never have to worry about mowing your lawn again, which is going to save you huge amounts of time, even just over a year. Now, of course, for those of you that want to check it out, I've placed a link down in the description below where you can go ahead and grab yours today. And hopefully I've covered everything in today's video, but if there's anything I've missed or you've got any questions at all, then just ask them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But thanks for watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the latest tech.